First, though, let's update you on the future of Jerome Luai. And this talk continues to be the headline act of the NRL off-season. The Panthers 5'8" granted leave by the club just days after informing teammates he'd be leaving after the 2024 season. Our reporter at Penrith is Cody Kay today. He has the very latest details. Cody, what can you tell us?
Yeah, good morning to you, Lukey. Look, the latest is that this has got the potential to be one of the biggest stories of the off-season, as you mentioned. My understanding is that Jerome Luai is still away from the Penrith Panthers. He was granted leave on Monday and for today. But I did try and contact the club who said, look, we can't confirm or deny whether Jerome is at the club today. The understanding is that he is, however, not at the club, and he's weighing up his future, which of course includes this massive 5-year, $6 million offer from the West Tigers. What that leads all of us here to believe, and of course let's not forget that the Bulldogs are also still in the race, but what it leads all of us to potentially ponder is whether or not Jerome Luai is going to be released by the Panthers a year early. We already know he won't be here in 2025, and potentially start round one at the West Tigers, who would love nothing more than to have Jerome Luai playing probably in the 7 jersey for them as they attempt to rebuild the club after completely blowing up the board just a week ago. So we do know that the Tigers expect an answer from Jerome as to whether or not he'll sign with them before Christmas. So this is a situation that we could see gain a lot of momentum over the next couple of days. But the big question is whether or not the Tigers can get him, and also whether or not Penrith are prepared to release him from his deal a year early. We've seen in the past that they haven't done that with Viliami Kikau, Matt Burton, Kurt Capewell, Api Coruscant. You get the feeling, though, it's a little bit different with Jerome Luai, given that when we knew the Tigers had first come knocking a couple of months ago, Penrith coach Ivan Cleary said, listen, you want to pay Jerome Luai $1 million? That's a risk, because that means he's the marquee man, he's the go-to guy. He's never had to play that role here at Penrith because he's the second fiddle to Nathan Cleary. That rankled Jerome Cleary, who got on Instagram almost straight away and had an image saying, know your own worth. So you never know what can happen, but the fact that he's away from the club, we are led to believe you'd have to think that there's a good chance something's going to happen here pretty soon.
I suppose, too, the other side of this equation is that Tigers have to have the cap space too.
They do, and apparently, according to an article in the SMH, the Tigers do have the cap space. It's worth pointing out that they wouldn't have to pay him the $1.2 million in 2024 that they've offered him for 25. All they'd have to do is match Penrith's current offer. If you believe the reports at the moment that they've got the cap space there, then the Tigers would be absolutely mad not to go after Jerome. I mean, the sooner they can get him there, the better, because really, when you sign a guy like Jerome Luai on the money that they're signing him on, that they want to sign him on, you're building a club around him. So really, it's almost like if you don't have him next season, you're kind of treading water. The Tigers and Benji Marshall, in Benji Marshall's first year as a head coach, I'm sure would love nothing better than to have Jerome Luai there as soon as possible so that he can spend the pre-season with them. And I mean, what an injection that is for the Tigers, who have had back-to-back wooden spoons. They've gone after star player after star player. And aside from Api Coruscant, it's been more misses than hits. So if they can land Jerome Luai, I mean, it's the kind of signature that Luke, as a long-suffering West Tigers fan, I'm sure you'd be desperate to have.
Yeah, indeed. It would be a great signing for the club, and one that they so sorely need, because, as you mentioned, they have gone after more number 7 targets than you care to remember over the course of the last couple of years and not landed any of them. It's a problem area for them. Cody, you'll be watching and waiting today at Penrith for us just to see whether Jerome Luai does go through the gates of the Penrith Rugby League Academy, but it is a watch this space at the moment. Thanks very much for the update. We'll check in with you again soon.